who has been rather on a tour countrywide for the past months, has tested positive of COVID-19. Mr. Kampyongo, who was recently on a tour of duty in his constituency, Shuangandu, has since been quarantined at Chinsali General Hospital in Muchinga Province. Minister of Home Affairs Public Relations Officer Nefas Jefota has confirmed that Mr. Kampyongo is ill and is receiving treatment. As of Saturday, 9th January 2021, Mr. Kampyongo, in the company of Livestock and Fisheries Minister Kanduluo, were in Shuangwandu, Ilondola area for the handover of livestock packages to various cooperatives. Currently, Copperbelt Province Minister Jafen Mwakalombe is also in isolation due to COVID-19, while former Science and Technology Deputy Minister, who also served as Luapola Minister in the MMD government, Crispin Mumba Musosha, succumbed to the disease on Saturday. Here is a brief background of the late Mr. Crispin Musosha.
Death will and shall forever remain a mystery and God's only secret hidden from man. No matter how many times man would come across it, no one would just ever get used to it. Not long ago, former Education Deputy Minister Crispin Musosha appeared on Camnet TV's National Matters program, but today the man is no more. Mr. Musosha died on Saturday, the 9th of January 2021. Health Minister Dr. CHITALU in a statement on Saturday informed the nation that Mr. Musosha died of COVID-19. While appearing on the Camnet TV program, Mr. Musosha spoke about COVID-19 and how people must adhere to the health guidelines.
What is now bringing us together, Pastor? The COVID-19. I watched a clip where a woman was dancing, but now my husband cannot go out because now we are all restricted. And now he has to help me with this and that. That's right. Yeah. Equally, against this pandemic, we just have to put our hands together. Opposition and the ruling, we have to forge ahead together and fight it if we can. Above all, every Zambian and every viewer around the world, let's accept to be humble before our Maker, our Creator God, because He's the source of everything. We can do everything, we can have big plans, but He has the last word over my plans.
Speaking on the same program, Mr. Musosha also advocated for Zambians to begin venturing into large-scale farming so as to liberate the country from poverty.
Agriculture, I repeat, not mining, not any other industry. Agriculture is the way to go. We can only redeem ourselves and liberate ourselves from slavery and poverty through agriculture. Because agriculture, we, after all, help to realize each time we plant, each time we are raising chickens, each time we are raising whatever we are raising, we just do what we can. The rest is God to remain performing.
Mr. Musosha also served as Mansa Central Member of Parliament. In 1978, Mr. Musosha joined the army before quitting to become a full-time businessman. In 2010, Mr. Musosha lost his first wife in a road traffic accident in Sanfia along with a sister to then Energy Minister Kenneth Konga. He dies aged 68. Last week, Zambians were mourning the death of former Gender Minister Sarah Saifwanda. Kalan Muchima reporting for Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Zambian mission in India has facilitated 12 repatriation flights from May 2020 to October 2020 to ease the movement of Zambians following the lockdown in India, which was affected in March 2020 amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Zambia's High Commissioner to India, Judith Kapijimpanga, says the year 2020 also recorded a decrease of 29% as compared to 2019 in the number of Indians and other nationals who visited Zambia for tourism, business, ordinary and official visits respectively. Ms. Kapijimpanga says 161 Indians obtained business visas while 16 go to tourist visas, adding that the number declined by far as compared to the year 2019 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. She adds that 11 Zambian nationals were in conflict with the law in India as of December 2020, of which the mission was working closely with relevant Indian authorities to ensure a fair trial. Ms. Kabijimpanga says over 400 Zambians were registered in India in countries of extra accreditation in 2020 alone, of which more than 300 were students whose welfare the mission monitored during the lockdown. This is contained in a statement released by First Secretary for Praise of the Zambian Mission in India, Bangwe Navile.
Despite the global lockdown, amid COVID-19 pandemic, the mission recorded 112 patients who were in India for medical treatment, of which 6 were reported dead. We appealed to Zambians seeking medical services in India to alert the mission through the Office of Counselor Health, Dr. Clarence Chiluba, of their presence, as the mission only knows about their presence when an adverse event occurs. Zambia was one of the first countries to be supported by India, as drugs and PPEs were given directly to Zambia in addition to the $2 million worth of drugs given on 24th December 2019.
Chief Kasoma Lunga of the Onga-speaking people in Luapula province says the gesture shown by President Edgar Lungu to the people of Lunga, where relief support is concerned, is unprecedented. The chief notes that since last rain season, his people have not recovered, hence threatening food security. The traditional leader says despite the many challenges the country is going through, there has been constant supply of relief items to the district. The chief was speaking when Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU National Coordinator Chanda Kawe paid a courtesy call on him at his palace. And Mr. Kawe says government will, starting this month, increase the relief food allocation to Lunga district, looking at the increase in the number of vulnerable people. Mr. Kawe further says a government will this same month engage 600 youths in Lunga district to add to the 400 already working on the opening up of the water channels in the district. In other news, the Agricultural Technical Professional Staff Union of Zambia is dismayed that over the continued irregularities under the Farmer Input Support Program, with the latest being where some people are repackaging the inputs for smuggling to other countries. Last week, the Drug Enforcement Commission unearthed a scam in which some unscrupulous people repackaged over 5 tons of agricultural inputs under the Farmer Input Support Program into other bags with intentions to smuggle to neighboring countries. The Commission, which is part of the Task Force to Control Goods, Import and Export of Agricultural Inputs, as stipulated in Statutory Instrument number 64 of 2019, conducted an operation in Senama and Kasama compound of Mansa district on the 6th of January 2021, where 10 by 50 kilogram bags of compound D fertilizer weighing 4.954 tons and 9 by 60 kilogram bags of soybean seed weighing 610 kilograms were seized. Union General Secretary Joe Kamutoma has held the task force for mitigating the scam, adding that such activities must be curtailed as that threatens national food security. Mr. Kamutoma has since called on agriculture extension officers to be educating farmers on the need to desist from selling the imports.
And farmers must know that this PCP has not come here to stay. It's a moving target. At one point it may wind up. When it winds up, what kind of a farmer are you going to be if you are given the seed today and somebody comes in, a briefcase businessman, comes to entice you with little coins and says you sell me the input, and then you sell the input and at the expense of enhancing your food security at household level. That is very sad. And if 6 months down the line, you go with a begging bowl, you're all over the show, parading your family and everybody that you were begging for help, arms and so on. I think that's very unfortunate. Mr. Soko, you cannot feed on seed. Seed is investment. And we want to tell our farmers out there, and I'm happy that this time around we didn't hear any extension staff, being meddled in the matter, and we want them to stay away. If anything, they must be seen discouraging such practices because they live with these farmers. So they need to educate them on the importance of making sure that whatever they get from the Farmer Input Support Program is put to good use. No, in the end, look here, this guy who comes to buy from you, you get the money, they give you little money, 2 days, mwendo vini la ndrama iso, bafama, mwa vini la ndrama iso. 1 month down the line, you are broke. You can't even harvest anything. And I'm thinking, when I sit on my own, you can get a credit. Tell someone, look, when I harvest, I'll pay back. But you would have invested first, not to for the farmers, and feel sorry for them. You're taking to Congo, you're taking to Zimbabwe, you're taking to Malawi, but you are leaving this country vulnerable. It will not be food secure. And you know that the rural communities at the moment rely, 90% of the communities rely on agriculture for their survival. And now, if you're going to exploit them this way, you know that when you take money to them, they'll be vulnerable. So food security needs to be enhanced.
The Zambia National Union of Teachers, ZANUT, is disappointed that its members, mostly in rural areas, have lagged behind in terms of housing development. Union Public Relations Manager Joe Kasaka is concerned that the Zambia Police Service is being empowered with accommodation. This has not trickled down to the education sector. Mr. Kasaka is cognizant that teachers are provided with housing allowances, but notes that it amounts to nothing as there is no decent housing in most rural communities. He explains that poor accommodation in rural areas tends to discourage the teachers, hence most of them opt to be transferred to other conducive areas. Mr. Kasaka is hopeful that the education fraternity will be given a priority when it comes to housing development in view of steering sector productivity.
When you go to our old schools around the country, you will still find that there are 2 schools at this school, especially primary schools. You will find that there are only 2 schools, 2 houses against the establishment of, maybe for that particular school, the establishment is about 15 teachers. You find there are only 2 houses. So these teachers are made to do what? They are made now to go and rent from the compounds and so on. And that's why you see we have a problem with teachers staying in rural areas, because there are no, even if they give them housing allowance, they will still not go and find a reasonable house to rent. Yeah, so teachers want also to live comfortably. So there is no way that you can make our teachers begin staying in those bad condition houses and you expect them to come and deliver in our schools. They won't. So the way they did for the police, if government also can embark on a very ambitious program and build the houses for the teachers, especially in the rural setups, we can be very, very delighted. But as things stand now, these things have not yet been rolled out, and they are causing a lot of difficulties in terms of retaining our staff in the rural setup. So I think it's a wake-up call, and it's something that we can still appeal to government that they need to look into the issues of accommodation. Yes, you can pay housing allowance, but where there's no accommodation, you use that money for what? You can't pay. You need to find a place where there's accommodation, then you're able to pay if you have housing allowance. But for now, it's a very, very big challenge for our teachers in the rural setup.
You're still watching Camnet News. We take another set of commercials. Join me shortly for international and sports news.
Can I have that meal over there? And I really want that crisp, fresh apple taste in the garden. Can I have the apple?
I think I'll have my big bite 2 meal with happy waziwaka. Give us your
enjoy an appetizing big bite meal with an happy drink of your choice. A meal is not a meal without an happy drink. And now introducing Happy in a can.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Thank you for staying on. We now look at international news. Black boxes of the passenger plane which crashed in the sea soon after takeoff from Jakarta, Indonesia on Saturday have been located. Officials say a small flotilla of ships has been searching the site and Navy divers are expected to be able to retrieve the 2 flight recorders they added. Aircraft parts and human remains have been found. The SRIWIJAYA Air Boeing 737 was carrying 62 people when it vanished from the radar on its journey to Borneo. Investigations are analyzing items which they believe could be a wheel and part of the plane's fuselage. However, the search appears to offer no hope of finding any survivors. A spokesperson for the Jakarta police, Yusri Yunas, said 2 bags had been received from the search and rescue agency. Here is a roundup.
Signals on Sunday that officials suspect are from the airplane that crashed into the sea earlier this weekend.
Sudah yakin itu di selatan pulau Laki tadi. Yakin sekali karena memang kelihatan sekali anomali air dan kemudian adanya sebaran ya. Saya yakin itu adalah banyak sekali material, mungkin sampah. Tapi saya yakin itu sampahnya itu dalam tanda kutip apakah pure sampah laut ataupun bagian dari itu. Tapi banyak sekali kapal-kapal tadi sudah mulai mencari, kita lihat melalui nelayan, kemudian dari tim Basarnas, laut juga itu sudah mulai mengambil ya. Jadi mereka juga sama mencari serpihan itu dengan cara ladder ya. Jadi bertahap dari sini, kemudian muter lagi pakai GPS gitu, dan disapu terus itu.
The Boeing 737 Sriwijaya Airjet disappeared 4 minutes after departing from Jakarta toward West Kalimantan, carrying 62 passengers and crew. Indonesian Navy officials told local media that suspected pieces of the plane and human remains were retrieved from the water soon after and had been sent to a hospital for identification. Indonesian President Joko Widodo spoke on Sunday.
We will do our best to find and save the victims, and together, let's pray that they can be found.
The country's top search and rescue officials said they're investigating 2 signal points discovered on Sunday, which he says could be from the plane's flight data recorder or black box. Search teams and local fishermen earlier in the weekend retrieved other debris off of the coast of Jakarta. The crash is the first major airline incident in Indonesia since 2018. When a faulty Boeing 737 MAX killed all passengers and crew on board. The Sriwijaya airplane was a nearly 27-year-old Boeing 737-500, a model much older than Boeing's previously problem-ridden 737 MAX.
We now look at sports news. In sports news, LUMWANA Radiance has moved 1 point clear from the relegation zone after beating Green Buffaloes by 1-0 in a game played at Solwezi Independence Stadium on Saturday in the MTN FAS Super League. Felix Nyaende scored the only important goal for LUMWANA in the second half of the game. Radiance now move to 15th position on the league table on 10 points, with Buffaloes sitting on 14th position with 10 points, also played 12 games. Green Buffaloes head coach Bilton Musonda attributed the team's loss to lack of fighting spirit. The Radiance head coach Tenant Chilembo said his team is not fighting relegation but competing as the league has become very competitive. Here are some of the highlights of the game.
We lost it today. My boys were not into the game. It's an ongoing league. It's about how you organize yourselves after a loss. It's how you again tackle the next games. That is the most important thing.
We are not surviving. We are competing. We're not surviving. It's not like we are remaining with 2 games, 3 games. We are competing. It's a very competitive league. So we need to work hard. We need to plan well. Each and everyone who is associated with the LUMWANA Radiance, we have to work together as a team, collectively. Each and every department work well. It's a team, it's collective effort, but individually as well, you have to add value to the team, which is good.
Well, that's where we wrap it up for our news tonight. But before we go, let's just look at what made headlines on our desk. Minister of Health, CHILUFYA, fired. A man of LUSAKA'S CHAMBA Valley takes his own life in unclear circumstances. Peter SINKAMBA urges government to hasten the formalization of marijuana cultivation. In international news, Indonesia's SRIWIJAYA Air Boeing 737 black boxes located as all 62 passengers feared dead. And in sports news, LUMWANA Radiance move a point clear from the relegation zone after beating Green Buffaloes. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, and it's coming from Hebrews 10 verse 24 to 25, and it reads, "And let us be concerned about one another in order to promote love and good works, not staying away from our worship meetings as some habitually do, but encouraging each other, and all the more as you see the day drawing near." Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. Remember to ensure that you observe the health guidelines set by the Ministry of Health to stop the spread of COVID-19. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. Good night.